Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So today we're reading from chapter 16, called The Demoniac and the Divine Nature. And we're reading from text 22. So we have it there on the screen. Let's first recite the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we have the verse there on the screen. You can all repeat after me. Eter vimukta kaunteya tamodvare stribhirnara acharatyatmana shreyas tato yati param gatim. Eter vimukta kaunteya tamodvare stribhirnaraha acharatyatmana shreyas tato yati param gatim. Eter vimukta kaunteya tamodvare stribhirnaraha acharatyatmana shreyas tato yati param gatim. Someone like to try? Eter vimukta kaunteya param gatim. Vider vimukta kaunteya. Tamodvaras tribhinara. Shreyas. Doyati param gatim. Anybody else? Vimukta kaunteya. Tamodvaras tribhinara. Daryatmana shreyas. Tato-yati param gatim. Okay, thank you. Let's do the word for word. Etai. From these. Vimukta. Being liberated. Kaunteya. O son of Kunti. Tamadware. From the gates of ignorance. Tribhi. Of three kinds. Naraha. A person. Acharati. Performs. Atmanaha. For the self. Shreyaha. Benediction. Tata. Thereafter. Yati. He goes. Param. To the Supreme. Gatim. Destination. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization, and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. Purport. One should be very careful of these three enemies to human life, lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. Then he can follow the rules and regulations enjoined in the Vedic literature. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually raises himself to the platform of spiritual realization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. In the Vedic literature, the ways of action and reaction are prescribed to enable one to come to the stage of purification. The whole method is based on giving up lust, greed, and anger. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. This self-realization is perfected in devotional service. In that devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are instituted the four orders of life and the four statuses of life, called the caste system and the spiritual order system. There are different rules and regulations for different castes or divisions of society, and if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt. So I'll begin by reciting the prayers to the spiritual master. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantiham Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before beginning to speak, I would like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees. Please pray to the Lord so that I can say something that will be pleasing to Him and beneficial, inspiring to all of you. Thank you. So I'll just read the verse again. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So in this verse, he's referring to the three gates of hell, which he described in the previous verse. Three gates to hell are lust, anger, and greed. And in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, Krishna explains, in the 3rd chapter, Krishna explains that lust is our greatest enemy, and that from lust, anger arises. Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajaguna Samudbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vidyainam Ihaverinam. That this lust is born due to contact with the material mode of passion, and it later develops into wrath, anger. And then he describes, so Krishna is telling us what our real enemies are. Because sometimes in life we think this person is my enemy or that person is my enemy. But from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us that actually our real enemies are our lust, anger, and greed. These are our real enemies. And the good news is that we can actually change it. We can change these qualities in us. We can get rid of these enemies if we follow the process that Krishna gives us. Because it's difficult to change other people, or if we want to try to get rid of our enemies, if we think they're other people, can be dangerous or difficult to try to get rid of them. But if we just work on our own qualities, then we can become free from our enemies, actually, and we can become peaceful and happy. So the process Krishna gives us in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, first of all, he tells us, what our enemies are. That our real enemy is lust. And he tells us that lust comes from the mode of passion. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains a lot about the 3 modes of material nature. That there are 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And that we should try to rise to the mode of goodness. And he gives us practical guidelines how we can rise to the mode of goodness above the mode of passion. Because in passion, we become subject to these enemies of lust, anger, and greed. So he tells us that there are different things we can do, such as the food we eat can be of different types. And also our attitude, what kind of attitudes we take to our work, our association, different times of day, different ways of enjoying ourselves. All these things, they're different ways of doing it in different modes of nature. So we should try to study the Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is a practical guideline on how we can live our life to get the maximum benefit of our life. It's often said that Bhagavad Gita is like a manual for life. That when God created this world, He also created a manual. So if we want to get the best use of this life, then we should read the Bhagavad Gita. Then we'll know what should be done, what should not be done. If we do this, then we'll end up suffering, but if we do this, then we can be happy. So in this way, Bhagavad Gita is very important, offers us much practical advice on how we can live our life to attain ultimate happiness. So in this, today we're we're focusing on lust, anger, and greed. So in the 3rd chapter, Krishna says that, first he tells us that lust is our enemy, and then he tells us where this enemy is situated. Because if you want to fight your enemy, you need to be able to find it. So he says that Indriyani mano buddhir asyadishtanam uchite eter vimohayatyesha jnana vijnana nashanam. That this our lust is situated in our mind, our senses, and our intelligence. So first, we have to try to control our senses. Krishna says that, the process to curb lust, first we need to control the senses in the beginning. In the chapter 2, he explains this process. Dhyayato vishayan pungsang sangasteshu vajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodho vijayate. That by contemplating the objects of the senses, attachment develops, and from attachment, lust arises, and from lust, anger then develops. So, in the beginning, we should try to control our senses. And how is this possible? This is possible by Krishna consciousness, by offering our senses some positive engagement in Krishna's service. Again, in the 2nd chapter, Krishna explains this, that Vishyavi nivartante nirahara sidehina raso varjam rasopyascha param drishtva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects still remains. But one who is established, one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, one who gives up such enjoyment after experiencing the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, then he's fixed. He doesn't, again, desire sense enjoyment. So we need to, the way to actually conquer our enemy of lust is to engage in Krishna consciousness. And the Krishna consciousness, it begins with hearing. There are 9 processes for devotional service. And the first is hearing. Hearing about Krishna is very important. Prabhupada says in the one purport that hearing is the right medicine for this disease we have, the disease of lust. By hearing about Krishna, then it purifies our heart of this contamination and makes us at the same time attached to Krishna. So it's a gradual process of simultaneously becoming detached from material enjoyment and becoming attached to Krishna. It's we can't just refrain from sense enjoyment without giving our senses some positive engagement. So that's why devotional service is very practical, because some philosophies they say that we should just meditate on the void, but then that's not very practical because we're active by nature, and our senses, they can't just remain inert without doing anything. So in Krishna consciousness, we get a chance to do so many things for Krishna. We can use our hands for cleaning the temple. We can cook for the Lord. Everything actually we can do for the Lord. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita in the chapter 3 about karma yoga, how we perform all our activities and just dedicate them for Krishna's pleasure. It's said that a devotee lives a similar life to like a non-devotee. Like people may see a devotee and think, what is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee? Because the devotee is also eating, he's also sleeping, and he also works, he also cooks, he lives in a house. But the difference is that the consciousness. That's why we call this movement the movement of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The difference is in our consciousness, that the devotee, he does everything for the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. He thinks that I'm cooking for Krishna's pleasure, and then he offers this food to Krishna first, and then he takes the remnants of the food after, and that's prasadam. So in this way, he absorbs his consciousness in Krishna. Similarly, when he's working, he spends his money. He thinks that I'm working for Krishna, and he spends his money for Krishna, for buying food for Krishna, for maintaining the house for Krishna. The devotees, they like to keep pictures of Krishna in their house and think that this is Krishna's temple. So then everything they do, they can always remember Krishna. And this is Krishna consciousness. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam naraskuru mame vaishasi satyam te pratijane prayosume. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me, and thus you will come to me without fail. So by always thinking of Krishna, then Krishna is very pleased. And at the end of our life, he takes us back to him. So in this way, by following this process of Krishna consciousness, we can very easily attain to the perfection of life. Here it is said that in the verse, the man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So here it is saying that, by following this process of devotional service, we can attain the supreme destination. So I thought that it would be nice to read a little bit about our supreme destination, because if we want to go somewhere, we should know something about the place, what it's like. So I found in the Bhagavatam it's described nicely, Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. It's called Vaikuntha because Vaikuntha means where there's no anxiety. Vaikuntha means where there's no anxiety. So here in the Bhagavatam there's a nice description. That's one amazing thing about Krishna consciousness philosophy, that it gives so much detailed information about like the kingdom of God, the form of God. In other religions, they don't have so much information. I was just hearing that we have to, we can judge which kind of religion is the most advanced by how much detail it gives, by how much detailed information it can give us. So we're fortunate to have so much detailed information I just want to share with you here. So this is from the Bhagavatam, the 3rd canto, chapter 15, and this chapter is called Description of the Kingdom of God. In the Vaikuntha planets, all the residents are similar in form to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They all engage in devotional service to the Lord, without desires for sense gratification. In the Vaikuntha planets, the inhabitants fly in their airplanes. In the Vaikuntha planets is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original person and who can be understood through Vedic literature. He is full of the uncontaminated mode of goodness, with no place for passion or ignorance. He contributes religious principles for the progress of the devotees. In those Vaikuntha planets, there are many forests, which are very auspicious. In those forests, the trees are desire trees, and in all seasons they are filled with flowers and fruits, because everything in the Vaikuntha planets is spiritual and personal. In the Vaikuntha planets, the inhabitants fly in their airplanes, accompanied by their wives and consorts, and eternally sing of the character and activities of the Lord, which are always devoid of all inauspicious qualities. While singing the glories of the Lord, they deride even the presence of the blossoming Madhavi flowers. When the king of bees hums in a high pitch, singing the glories of the Lord, there is a temporary lull in the noise of the pigeon, the cuckoo, the crane, and the chakravaka, the swan, the parrot, the partridge, and the peacock. Such transcendental birds stop their own singing, simply to hear the glories of the Lord. Although flowering plants, like the lily and parijata, are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of the austerities performed by Tulsi, for Tulsi is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulsi leaves. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha travel in their airplanes made of lapis lazuli, emerald, and gold. although crowded by their consorts who have large hips and beautiful smiling faces. They cannot be stimulated to passion by their mirth and beautiful charms. The ladies in the Vaikuntha planets are as beautiful as the goddess of fortune herself. Such transcendently beautiful ladies, their hands playing with lotuses and their leg bangles tinkling, are sometimes seen sweeping the marble walls, which are bedecked at intervals with golden borders, in order to receive the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The goddesses of fortune worship the Lord in their own gardens by offering tulsi leaves on the coral-paved banks of transcendental reservoirs of water. While offering worship to the Lord, they can see on the water the reflection of their beautiful faces with raised noses, and it appears that they have become more beautiful because of the Lord's kissing their faces. Okay, so that ends the description from this section. So we can see here that says that in the spiritual world, everything is personal, and everyone is fully absorbed in serving the Lord. That even though there's so much pleasure available there, they're not interested in sense gratification because that's inferior to the pleasure that's derived from serving the Lord. So that's the mood of the spiritual world. Everybody is completely happy in the service of Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita also there's another description. It says that in the spiritual world every word is a song and every step is a dance, and all the water is nectar, and the earth is full of jewels. So we should, if we want to go to the spiritual world, then we should hear about these descriptions and be attracted by them, and then we can know what we're aiming for, and then we can become encouraged to follow this practice seriously, to go to such a wonderful place. So let me see what I've got here. Does anybody have any questions or comments so far? Wants to share anything or add anything?
Is there any hierarchy to these nine, or are they all equal to each other?
Yeah, any of the processes are good, but they generally recommend that hearing is most important because in order to understand the process of devotional service, we need to hear about it.
When you say hearing, is it hearing in class? Is it hearing the holy name? Is it?
Yeah, everything. Reading is also the same as hearing. So like reading the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing the classes, hearing the holy name, anything like spiritual sound vibration, that's all part of devotional service and hearing. Yeah, hearing is important because devotional service means serving the Lord with love. And in order to develop love for Krishna, we first need to know something about him. Otherwise, there's no way of loving somebody you don't know. So then by hearing from the Bhagavad Gita, the beautiful instructions Krishna gives to Arjuna, and from the Bhagavatam, how nicely he deals with all his devotees, his different wonderful qualities, then we can develop our love for him by understanding that he's the most wonderful person, the most kind person, the most grateful person. And the Nectar of Devotion also is a really nice book for understanding Krishna's qualities. There it describes all of Krishna's qualities, and then you can see what a wonderful person he is, and then naturally we'll want to serve him with love. So yeah, that way hearing is very important for starting our process of devotional service. The next is chanting. Chanting Krishna's holy names. Yeah, the 9 are hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna. So it said that by hearing, and we should hear so well that we can say it to somebody else. We can chant it, like sing it or speak the glories of the Lord to somebody else, and then we can also remember them all the time. If we're hearing them and speaking them, then naturally we'll be able to remember them. And then hearing, chanting, remembering, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, offering prayers. Offering prayers to the Lord is also a nice way, because devotional service said that it depends on 2 things, our effort and the mercy of the Lord. So we have to do our part, try to dedicate our activities to the Lord, and try to chant and hear. But also at the same time, we have to know that the success of our devotional service is depend on the mercy of Krishna. So then we can pray to Krishna to please bestow his mercy upon us, reveal himself to us, so that we can, because Krishna is all attractive. So as soon as we know Krishna, then we'll automatically be attracted to him. But the problem is that our senses, they're covered by ignorance, so we're not able to actually appreciate Krishna's beauty, his wonderful qualities. So that's why this process of bhakti yoga is to engage our senses in the service of the Lord. Then our senses will gradually become purified, and then we can actually understand how wonderful Krishna is. And then that love which is dormant in our heart will be awakened, and then we'll serve Krishna with love naturally. So that's the process. So we can pray to Krishna, smart vandanam. Then padasevanam is rendering service to his lotus feet. And padasevanam, archanam, that's like deity worship, how we do here on the altar. Shravanam, kirtanam, smarnam, vandanam, padasevanam, archanam, dasyam. Dasyam, sakyam, atmanivedanam. Yeah, last year dasyam. Dasyam is considering yourself the servant of the Lord, doing everything, just as a servant. And sakyam is like considering the Lord your best friend. So, it's important to always have a friendly mood towards Krishna. Sometimes people get upset thinking, why is God doing this to me? But actually we have to understand that Krishna is our best friend, and he always tries to do everything for the benefit of the person. And whatever happens to us, it's because of our own karma. Whatever, for every action, there's a reaction. So if we do something good, then we'll get good results, and if we do something bad, then we'll get different kinds of suffering in our life. It's not that God hates anybody or puts anybody into a difficult situation. He's actually always trying to help us. That's why he gives us his Bhagavad Gita, and he arranges for the devotees to be here, and whenever you want to come closer to him, then you can always come to the devotees, read from the Bhagavad Gita, and then you can learn how to get free from this the suffering of the material world. Because actually this material world it's always a place of suffering. The only permanent solution is to get out of this material world and go to the spiritual world. And so that's why I wanted to read the description of the spiritual world, because then we can increase our desire to go there. So then Sakyam and Atmanivedanam finally means fully surrendering everything to Krishna. That's the last stage. Okay.
One more question, sorry. You talk about these 3 gates of hell, the lust, the greed and anger.
Mhm.
Sometimes obviously they can just appear in your the actual feeling of the anger that is sort of negative karma, or is it the action of doing something about sort of the lust or the greed or the anger that causes bad karma, or is it even the thoughts of that count towards sort of negatively towards your karma?
No, and until you don't do anything, you don't get any bad karma. Yeah. Yeah, if you just get angry, but then you think, no, I shouldn't shout at the person, then it's fine. You stopped it there. So that was good. Yeah. That's why Krishna talks a lot about the modes of nature in the Bhagavad Gita, because when you're in the mode of passion, then it's harder to control your anger and these different low qualities. But when you develop the mode of goodness, then it becomes more easy to be peaceful. And yeah, lust and anger are not so prominent.
And the devotional service, is it on the platform of goodness, or is it elevated above the three modes of material nature?
It's above all of them, yeah. But it said that in order to take to devotional service, the mode of goodness is the easiest to. From the mode of goodness, then you can easily do devotional service. From passion and ignorance, it's difficult to practice devotional service, because in passion you have so many desires to enjoy your senses. So you're just busy trying to enjoy your senses, and it's difficult to. You don't really want to serve Krishna, you just want to serve yourself. But in the mode of goodness, then it's, it said that in the mode of goodness, then you get real knowledge. You can understand that actually life is not just about enjoying my senses, working to enjoy my senses, and then getting old and dying. That even the animals are doing that. But human life is special, because in human life we have higher intelligence to understand about God, about spiritual life, how we can make a solution to all the problems of life, and go to the spiritual world. So that in the mode of goodness we can understand. And from knowledge we can become detached by understanding how everything is temporary. Then we understand that it's not really worth all our time and energy, that I should dedicate my time and energy for something that will actually give me eternal benefit. So then from the mode of goodness, then we can, when we understand that, then we can take to devotional service. We can understand that, actually the best thing to do is devotional service, because devotional service, the benefit is eternal. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayana Vidyate Swalpamampyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. That in this endeavor of devotional service, there is no loss or diminution, and even a little advancement on this path can save one from the greatest type of fear. That the greatest type of fear is, again, becoming an animal or going to hell. And it said that every little thing we do in devotional service is never lost. Like if we just chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, we read, Krishna always remembers that. And even in our next life, we'll continue from where we left off in devotional service. That benefit we'll always have with us. And we'll always get a human form of life to continue practicing devotional service. We'll never have to become an animal again. In material life, if we want to get success, we have to complete our say when we're studying. First we have to study, we have to go to school, we have to pass, otherwise everything's useless. And then again we have to go to university, we have to get a good enough grade, otherwise it's useless. And then after that, when we pass our university, then we have to find a job. If we can't find a job, then it's useless. And if we're running a business, if our business is not profitable, then we don't get anything. But in devotional service, it's not like that. Every little thing we do, we get eternal benefit. And in our next life, we can't take anything with us. All the money we acquired, all our education. When we get a new life, we have to start everything again. We lose everything. So it's better to engage ourselves in something that will give us eternal benefit. Did I answer your question? Okay. Yeah.
How can someone keep themselves in the mode of goodness always?
Mode of goodness always.
All the time. How can someone be in a mode of goodness?
Yeah, in the Bhagavad Gita, it said that there's always competition for the modes of material nature. That it's very difficult to stay always in one mode because the modes are always competing. That's why it said that we should try to develop the mode of goodness, and as soon as we're on the mode of goodness, then we have to go to the level of Krishna consciousness, because only then can we remain in the transcendental stage. I think Prabhu wants to add something. Yeah?
To add to that, I think what could also be said in addition is that association, always stay in the association of advanced devotees. If you do that within you, that it remain in the platform of goodness. I mean, the association, hearing, if you can't see being there present physically, always hear about them and from them, and then you listen. Like we have them now. Technology, you can reach them. Audio.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was nice. Yeah, it's important. Association is very important to keep us in the mode of goodness and Krishna consciousness. Does anybody have anything else to say?
With regards to so obviously attaining the supreme destination, and you spoke about obviously the 9 forms of bhakti. So for me, personally, I feel that Harinam is the most attractive to me as opposed to deity worship or doing other forms of seva or bhakti. So can you just stick to one form of bhakti from the 9 and still achieve this supreme destination, or do you have to gradually elevate yourselves to all 9 forms?
Any one of them is good. Yeah. Yeah, you can just stick to one, and that's good enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chanting is actually the process that's recommended for this age. It said that Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyatha. That in this age of Kali, there is no better process for attaining liberation than chanting of the holy names. And this process we can do, chanting we can do anytime, any place, just wherever we are. We can always chant the holy names of the Lord. Does anybody have anything else? Would you like to read? Maybe I'll read a few of the sections here from the Bhagavad Gita that talks about the modes of nature, how we can develop the mode of goodness from giving up the mode of passion and ignorance. It's nice to read these. And in chapter 14, it's called The 3 Modes of Material Nature. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way there is always competition for supremacy. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops, and from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Then in chapter 17, Krishna speaks more about the modes. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances, not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body, as well as the supersoul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds. According to the three modes of material nature, the same is true of sacrifices, austerity, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Food prepared more than 3 hours before eating, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of ignorance. So here we can see there's different kinds of food also. Just by choosing different kinds of food, that we can elevate ourselves in one of the modes. So by choosing foods that are, here it says, juicy, fatty, and wholesome, by choosing those foods, then we develop the mode of goodness. But if we choose food that are too bitter, too sour, too salty, then we increase the mode of passion in us. Now there's different types of ways of performing sacrifice also. 1 minute. Okay, then I think we'll stop. you can all continue reading the Bhagavad Gita on your own. Everyone has the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah? So I recommend that you read the Bhagavad Gita. There are so many valuable instructions here, practical instructions that you can apply in your life. Thank you very much for listening patiently. And now there's going to be the arti. Hare Krishna.
श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की जय। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। की बजया जया गौरा चंदे आरती को शोभा जया जया गौरा चंदे आरती को शोभा जया जया गौरा चंदे आरती को शोभा जानवी तवानी जग मन लोभा जानवी तवानी जग सिंहासनी बोती आते आरती को रे ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने चामर धुलाया मधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रताना शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल बहु कोटि चंद्र गिरे वदन उज्ज्वला गानदेशे बाणमाला कोरे जनमाला शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेमे गाना शिवा शुक भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपदा की बजया जय गौरा चंदे आरती को शोभा जानवी तटवाले जग मन लोभा